Yeah, yours like
How is Walter going to speak with that?
Sure, tell what you mean.
yeah, no.
There's 3 people, but I don't know how to see who's on and what they're saying. There's 3 people on my personal Facebook. Really?
Am I worrying?
She's running this.
Yeah.
It's 5:30. We're going to go ahead and call our council meeting to order. Rachel, can you turn the recorder on?
Oh, yes.
Thanks. Thank you. We have all of our council members present, so we do have a quorum. At this time, I would invite you to rise as you are able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do have a couple of invited guests this evening, and so I'm going to introduce Carol Jackson and her assistant Jennifer are here, and you'll be appearing later on the agenda, but thank you for being here tonight for your presentation. And then we have our A&M EcoFlow student engineers here tonight. We've got Lauren Everson, Greg Hayes, Jesus Hernandez, and Wyatt Casper, and they'll be visiting with us as well later. This was their see one, do one, but I've asked them to share some items this month, and then they'll actually do a full presentation for the council next month. So thank you for doing 2 things. At this time, we'll go ahead and begin with the citizen presentations. I would remind you, those who signed up to speak, you have 3 minutes, and Paul will be keeping that timer for you. And at 3 minutes, we're going to ask you to stop and let somebody else take their turn. Tiffany Eckhart.
Just pass them out for me. Over the past 2 years, Burton residents have shown up and spoken up. The data collected from City Council minutes between May 2024 and now shows 36 individual concerned citizen statements recorded, 15 council discussions on the issue, 2 ordinance votes, both failed. I'm up here, not in your notes. What this pattern shows is this was not an occasional thing. This was persistent and ongoing, and the citizens were dismissed. At workshops, public hearings, failed ordinances twice, committee creations, and outside contractor discussions. This isn't about being for or against growth. It's about how decisions are made and whether community input is truly part of the process. When residents consistently engage, it deserves more than an acknowledgement. It deserves consideration. What we've experienced in the past 22 months is classic problem, reaction, solution. Problem is created or amplified, real or perceived, to instill fear and public demand for action. Solution is always expanded government and loss of freedom. In the city council meeting minutes, there are 15 documented discussions. A subdivision ordinance, land use ordinance, development regulation, AOKA. Because there is a record in the city council minutes, we know of the 36 documented times citizens had made statement in opposition to the decision. What is not counted is when the records refer to the many who spoke. We don't know who they were, how many people, or what they had to say. And now the minutes before you to approve tonight do not record the citizens' concern statements for the record. This has to be corrected. I want the citizens of Burton in the future to know that we try to prevent government overreach. We know for sure that the city council minutes from tonight will record how the council votes and how it handles the issues before you.
Linda?
I've been informed that through the Texas A&M survey that B&Bs in Burton are judged a negative. I disagree wholeheartedly with that conclusion. According to Airbnb's corporate office and their help center, Airbnb or B&Bs provide economic empowerment for individuals, provide tourism, local spending, offer community preservation through positive hosting. Airbnb in particular pays taxes to our community, and so do the hosts that sponsor many of these B&Bs pay taxes to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't have anybody else who has a subject list that next to their name. Is that correct? Okay. We'll move on. Do you see anybody else that has signed up to speak? All right. We're going to begin this evening with the appointment of Dale Schwartz as acting city secretary. And Dale, along with that comes the signing of a statement and then the administration of the oath of office. So during the executive session of the regular council meeting on Tuesday, March 10th, the city attorney advised council to appoint an acting city secretary until a city secretary was hired. We are close to that, but we still need to take care of that so that you can be signing things for us. After a discussion, the council nominated former council member Dale Schwartz for that position. And I was to contact Dale Schwartz and visit with him about this nomination. So Dale and I visited. He's agreed to serve as acting city secretary for the city of Burton. This is an unpaid/volunteer position. The job description includes attending council meetings and signing off on documents where the city secretary would need to sign with the city seal. So council, we have Dale here tonight. I would entertain a motion from council to appoint Dale Schwartz as acting city secretary.
I'll make that motion. Oh, you did put it. Like Dale is acting city secretary.
Gotcha. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so Dale, the first thing I have for you is a statement. We all have to sign these when we run for office, so you're familiar with that statement. It says, I, Dale Schwartz, do solemnly swear or affirm that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote at the election at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation, whichever the case may be, so help me God. Are you willing to affirm that? Thank you. And you'll sign right there. I'm giving you. Oh no, there's more. And then I need you to raise your right hand and then repeat after me. I, Dale Schwartz,
I, Dale Schwartz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
okay, that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of Acting City Secretary
of the office of Acting City Secretary
in the City of Burton,
in the City of
in
Burton,
the state of Texas,
State of Texas,
and will do to the best of my ability
and do to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States and of this state.
of the United States and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And then can you check sign this one as well? There's a little. Is that good? We're good. Okay, good. Yes, now you say thank you.
Thank y'all for putting this right.
All three things. Okay, and now Carol Jackson. And so Carol Jackson is with the Washington County Office of Elections. And I have in their packet, just so you know, the main early and day of voting location and joint election, as well as a sample ballot. And then we need to highlight, because it wasn't on the original, that there's no early voting on Tuesday the 21st, which was a shocker for all of us. It is San Jacinto Day, and that is a state holiday. So,
There's the blinds right there, if that would help.
Oh.
Is it too dark?
We're
No,
just
it's
gonna show
all right.
you guys.
To be able to see it a bit.
Gotta keep the eye checks apart.
So if you guys didn't see me, I'm Carol Jackson, and I have my clerk with me, and her name is Jennifer Kajeski. And we run your elections. I know you guys have probably voted at the annex in Brenham, so we do all of the elections. Local, federal, state, all of those. So tonight, we just really want to show you the equipment that we use for elections. Now, usually we have the full ballot, but our plans are to use the standard express vote cards. So everybody will be marking their ballot using the ballot marking machine equipment. And so this is a small election, so it's less than 400 people with Giddings. I'm sorry, less than 450 people with Giddings. And so we thought we'll take advantage of this time so that people can get more familiar with that ballot marking device. And it's really, really easy, but we're going to show you, first of all, this is the poll book. The poll book that we use to check everyone in. Okay, everybody's going to be checked in using this poll book, and everyone should bring their license or another form of ID, state issued ID with a picture in order to be checked in, and must be a registered voters. Sometimes during other elections, there's a chance for people to vote a limited ballot if you're not shown on the poll book.
However, this is a local election, so therefore the limited ballot is not available. However, if someone's not on the poll book, then they are allowed to vote a provisional ballot if they request it. Okay, we do introduce it to them, but if they say yes, then we'll allow them to vote a provisional ballot. So after they're checked in, voters are checked in using the poll book, the next thing, we're going to be using the printer. Our printers are dark gray, kind of black in color, but this is the printer that's going to print out that activation card. And you see, the activation card is a ballot, just like the regular standard ballot that you will mark with a pen. But this is the card, and it's going. The only thing that it's going to mark on your grade, it looks great. Only thing that printer is going to mark on your ballot is the precinct that you'll be voting in, your name, or no affiliation with who you are is in that barcode. It's just the ballot number, the precinct number, and the type of ballot that you're getting, okay? And after that prints out, the next thing we'll do, you guys will do, is actually insert it into the express vote. And you can play that video for us. Bring it down just a little bit. And we're gonna let you listen to this video.
First, find the candidate that you want to vote for. Using your finger or a stylus, simply touch the name of that candidate. They will be highlighted. If you'd like to change your mind and vote for another candidate, simply press their name, and you'll notice your vote will toggle to that candidate. You may notice in the corner of the candidates area there is a small checkbox. That is not the target area you want to press. That is simply a helpful checkbox which indicates which candidate has been selected. Please note, not every jurisdiction puts the little checkbox in the corner, so your vote session may not have them. Once you have made all of your selections, a summary screen will be displayed. This summarizes all of the choices that you have made. This is your first opportunity to confirm your choices. If everything looks good, press Print Ballot. Once the card is printed, it will be returned to you. Your choices will be summarized on the ballot card. This is your second opportunity to verify and confirm your choices. If you need further assistance, please see a poll worker.
We'll stop right there. You get as many times as you want to view your ballot. You don't have to allow it to, go ahead and print it out. You can actually go back and see a previous selection on your ballot to make sure that the person that you voted for is the one that's chosen on your ballot. And then after that, you can print it out, view it again, and then your next step is to cast your ballot. Stop it right now.
This video
for me. Now, we just recently got the DS300s. The first time we used them was for the primary election, and we use them all the time, but they were DS200s for early voting. But we got the newer version, which is the DS300, and they're just smaller, easier to work with. But that's where you're going to cast. The voters will cast that ballot, and then the ballot is also counted. You'll be able to see that your ballot has counted because the top number, there's a protective count and there's a public count. The public count will show how many voted, and it'll show, it'll accumulate every time somebody casts a ballot. Got the words. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and allow you guys.
will provide step-by-step instructions for how to cast your vote on the DS300. After you've printed your ballot and reviewed your choices, take your ballot to the DS300. Insert your ballot into the secure tabulator in any direction and allow the machine to pull in your ballot automatically. A thank you for voting message confirms your vote has been captured. Notify a poll worker about other messages. Thanks for watching. See you at the polls.
All right, so we can turn the lights back on. We're done with that. We just wanted you guys to see how the ballot voting process during the election, early voting and election day. And both are held here. And we do have clerks that we decided to get judges and deputy clerk, early voting clerks that are not affiliated with this area, Burton City or Giddings ISD, and because we want you to feel more comfortable and make sure that, you know, nobody's trying to, you know, fool you in any kind of way. We just want you to feel comfortable with coming here and voting and casting your ballot, and when you leave, you're confident in the ballot process, the voting process. So,
The other thing that we have discussed is that we'll be building a wall, a partition. We're going to put a partition between the voting area and City Hall so that we can still do our business on that end, and voters can access through this door under the portico to come in and vote and leave. And it just makes it uncomfortable in that any of the polling judges will have to go outside the building to go around and go to the bathroom. And if we want water, we have to go outside the building and come around and ask for water from our refrigerator. And so we're both inconvenienced to some degree, but it just divides the building in half.
right. It's better for the less interaction with the public, the better.
Yes.
Even at the courthouse, at the annex, and at any polling location you go to, the public shouldn't access voting area unless they're intending to vote. That's the only reason. They should step inside of a polling location. And let me just fill in the candidates. If there are any candidates that are here, you should not access this building unless you're, this part of the room, unless you're actually voting. If you're casting a vote, that's fine. Or if somebody needs assistance that you know with reading the ballot or whatever, you can do that. However, you shouldn't just linger around inside this polling location, because then it becomes loitering. And we don't want anybody to be, you know, that's a class A misdemeanor, I do believe. And then the other thing is the 100 feet distance markers are going to be out here. So there should not be any campaigning within the 100 feet. And there's also 20 feet because curbside voters, we're required by law to set up for our curbside voters so that they can vote closer to the polling location. So you want to, the new law is you cannot access the polling location room on your cell phone. But also you have to be mindful because your car, a voter who's voting curbside, that's their voting station as well. So therefore, in between there, the car and the door, the entrance, make sure, you know, voters need not be on their phones. So.
Carol, so will they able to take that, so if somebody can't get out of the car if they're handicapped, they'll be able to take that machine to the car, or do they?
Right.
Okay.
We're gonna have the express vote, the second type of machine equipment that you saw. We'll be taking it out to the car and they can actually vote on that.
And then you said photo ID, we have to have a photo ID, right?
You definitely, for every election, you'll have to have a state issued ID, some type of, there's 7 approved forms, but definitely have to have one of those in order to be, in order to vote in this election.
And one other thing, you mentioned Giddings ISD, so we are sharing space. You're sharing, and can you explain why that is to those who may not know?
During, anytime there's a May election and the school, the state requires them basically to have a joint election with like the city or whomever else is having an election during that same time. So therefore, it's a joint election. We'll have Giddings ISD, different ballots. They can't be on the same ballot because the city of Burton is not inside of Giddings, and Giddings is not a part of the city. So basically, it's 2 different ballots, one for each entity.
And the reason we have Giddings ISD is because
The state requires it. Oh,
because the western edge of Washington County is getting.
oh,
ISD.
that, okay,
Yes.
yeah, we do have voters that are registered in Washington County that are actually so close to the line, they're part of Giddings ISD as well. And so we host that election. And the reason we are hosting it because we want everything to be consistent in the way it's been for every election, so it'll make sense to the voters. Did we talk about it?
That covers it. Yeah, just to remember that the polls are closed April 21st for San Jacinto Day, state holiday.
Courthouse is open, but not for voting.
Yeah.
But we'll be there. And I appreciate you guys, trusting us in having your election. That's what we do.
Appreciate you doing it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, y'all clean up.
Yeah.
So y'all
We're
go
gonna
ahead
get
and
out of here.
Yeah, thank
This is
you.
the last minute thing. All right. Thank you.
So council will look at action item number 4. So Rachel, do you have that picture of the gates at the wastewater treatment plant?
Yes.
One of the things that we've needed to address, and I'm not sure, Dustin, these were like that. Dustin, these were like that before we had the Little Dukes of Hazzard incident. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So, so the gates of the wastewater treatment plant look like this, and anybody can slip in and out.
They're gonna happen during the construction when the sewer plant was revamped.
Oh, really? And they were been busted for quite a while. Okay.
2012, 15.
So, people can slip in and out of that, and we need to fix that and make our facilities more secure. And so Rachel went out. If you haven't driven by the wastewater treatment plant, we've done some improvements over there. We've wrapped the entire plant in black, and so that you won't be able to see it during the Gin Festival. But the gates, anybody can crawl in and out of there, and that's not safe for anybody. And so Rachel has 4 quotes in front for you tonight. And they're kind of, we've got one bid for the one gate you can replace the one gate or you can replace them both. So this first bid is for the one gate, and you'll see that price there for $425. The next bid is for $1,000 for 2 gates. Third bid, it goes up quite a bit from there to $3,100, and the fourth bid is in between at $2,450. So I guess you decide if you want to replace one gate or 2, and then your bid.
I think just replacing the one broken, if the other one's not broken, there's really no point.
Replacing the picture, I mean, it looks pretty good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
do you feel that one needs to be replaced?
It'll just be shinier.
Yeah. But it'll.
We're still going to cover it with black,
Yeah.
so,
The one closest to your hand.
yes, this one's the bent up one, so
Yeah,
it's,
I'd say so.
okay. So just replace the one gate, so, and then you go to your bids, and I guess divide by half on some of those if you just want the one gate, or you could just go with the one gate bid. Mm-hmm. The bid for $425.
I just assume going to American Gas Company.
It's good.
We'll look at other bids, or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the bid of $425 for the one gate.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion, Paul, for the first bid for $425 to replace just the one gate, seconded by Macy. All in favor? And all opposed? All right, thank you. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. We'll begin with the minutes of the March 10th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? And I do have a question, Joseph. In terms of the city, recorded city minutes, we had a citizen ask that more be recorded in terms of what citizens are presenting. Is that standard? Is that an option? Is that?
It's definitely an option. By law, the only thing that's required is a record of what was voted on, like what the votes were, who voted for what, who made what motion. That's really it. And then what we see cities do, it kind of runs the gamut. Some will just have what's required by law, and then some will be full-out novels, writing out every single thing that happened. We caution against going too far that way, just because then you start inserting opinions into people's mouths, and that can become an issue because maybe that's not exactly what they meant, or maybe they had a different intent behind what they said, but then it's a written record of what was said, so like that poses some potential problems. So we don't recommend going too far. But if you do want to include more information, such as the speakers, maybe what they spoke about, maybe not their opinions on, so it's really up to the city. You can go as far as you want with that. So I would like to give this, I typed it out this time instead of us having to go back and forth. I would like the comments made by the citizens. I did listen to them and I consolidated them way down. It's important that those comments are in there because the minutes are used a lot as what happened and what was intended and what if it's not in the minutes, then it didn't happen. So I think it's important that when the citizens stand up, they get at least a couple of 3 sentences of their overall words that they spoke. And that's been consistent. That's something that's been going on for years and years and years. That's not something. This is the first time I've seen citizen presentations in just names.
Cool. Do you have any feelings either way?
So say more modified version, just a topic name.
Just the topic, name and topic. Anybody else? Jeff, would you be okay with the suggestion of name and topic spoke to, or do you want more than that?
I would really like what is written on that page.
Okay. Well, what is written on that page needs to be modified to reflect Burton Banner Press February of 2025.
Okay.
So these are corrections being submitted. That's my understanding. These are the corrections to the minutes being submitted.
Right.
So in the future then, council, it'll be the name, topic, quick summary. Is that correct? Is that what you're hearing?
That's what I'm hearing.
Okay. Okay. Are there any other additions or corrections to the minutes? on to the financial reports. The first one being the financial report for the city of Burton. So Angela is still preparing these. So the income reflected for March is $18,416.30. The expenses for March are $9,585.07, with a surplus of $8,831.23. For the water and sewer for the month, income was $34,927.63. Expenses were $20,933.74 with a surplus of $13,993.89. So in addition to the profit and loss statements you're seeing, I neglected to include the amended 2025-2026 budgets that ended March 31st. They were included in Angela's, the city secretary folder of all the things that happen every month. They're written down, but I'm just seeing that as I was putting everything together. So these budgets will be on the agenda for that special call meeting we'll be having later this month, and that special call meeting will be Tuesday, April 28th. That is our date for the next meeting. And mayor's report, so you'll see that there. So we've got Texas Target Communities and all the updates. The first group is our biological and agriculture engineering students. They are here with us tonight. This, again, is supposed to be a see one, do one, and but I'm glad that they're here. They will be, you'll have a showcase next week, Friday, and then your actual final is April 29th. April 29th is your final. And so that's the update there, and they'll actually come back in May and present you with their full report down to how to plan ahead. So they're really on it, and they've got some really great information for us in May. For our urban planning students and our advanced transportation planning or applied planning, transportation planning classes, they have their dry run finals tomorrow, which I'll go over and do the walkthrough with them on their dry run for their final. Their finals are actually going to be here Wednesday, April 22nd. At the Burton American Legion Hall. There's a flyer to that effect on the table over there, and they'll present all their findings then. Water well, any questions with the Texas Target Communities program? Okay. Water well number 5, we had to reschedule that ribbon cutting for July, mostly because we can't drink the water from it yet. We don't have the clearance for it, so we don't need to cut a ribbon for it. So we get until we can actually do all that. And so I need to submit some dates to the General Land Office to get some of their team out here, but we're still working on that. We have received our 2 requests for exception, one for water well number 4, and then one for the exception for the sanitary easement. So apparently water well number 4 was not installed correctly and still got TCU approval, but now they're saying, hey, it wasn't installed correctly, we're going to give you an exception. Whatever. And then the other one is for the sanitary easement because we've never heard back from the landowner. We have, if you look at the land, we have a sanitary easement for 4. The sanitary easement for 5 is much smaller, but he would not sign off on that. So we have an exception. So it's just paperwork churning, and so we hope to have that, again, ribbon cutting in July. Canettle Lift Station, there's nothing new to report. I did check in with Chad with BEFCO, and he says the company is still waiting on equipment. Again, the company is in Far East Texas. They want everything there before they load the trailer to bring it here. And so once that's done, then we'll hear from them. And there's that, we got good news that our PIF for the Texas Water Development Board was accepted on our Fred line and more water system improvements. So that's good. The new water infrastructure grant has opened, and when I am able to catch a breath, later this week, then we'll start the work on that grant as well. Both grants are for $5 million. If we receive one, then we let the second one go. So we're going after that, again, for that flood line in town and for the rest of our water system improvements.
Where does that start again?
It starts in front of the old hair depot.
Oh, okay, it starts with
I'll see the other things listed there for you. Utility report. Rachel, I'm gonna have you start.
Yes, it's not a new trash complaint, but Texas Commercial Waste has yet to contact the resident on the culvert issue. I did email Jeff with Texas Commercial Waste and said he's trying to find someone to come out and look at it, and he will let the resident know when he gets that scheduled. That was the culvert at the resident's house. The trucks were backing up and crushing it. So water loss is at a 2.79%. I did order the privacy screen for the fence at the wastewater treatment plant, and Karen and I installed that. Just to have some more chemical. I think Steph had mentioned something about kind of.
She would go to artwork that had a lot of pieces of plastic.
Right, so we decided to just
wrapped
do the privacy fence for the festivals and stuff, so. I did send out letters for the sewer rate increase. I'm still working with the A&M students in their final weeks of their project. I submitted the water loss audit. I did have a resident complain about the alerts next bill pay we're sending out, and so I had the alerts removed from the system. The resident also is requesting us do like a wire transfer payment. I don't know anything about those. If y'all are interested, I can look into that. But she says she does it with all the other bills. And I told her we just got online bill payment, just a few years ago. So we're itching to catch up with the times. But I don't know if y'all know anything about wire payment. So.
Has anybody else had any problems with the payment system?
I just have my debit card set up on it and
I did too.
autographs.
Right, yeah. So then I won't worry about that. The city has had several sewer backups on North Railroad. Dustin and his guys have pulled out a lot of debris from the lines and still trying to figure out the problem. So I've had a lot of emergency calls on that sewer line on North Railroad.
Thank you. Dustin, can you give us some items that present items that city needs to know about that's not related to the problems there on North Railroad?
Yeah, we, not much. The Amkin meter we moved because they're expanding their parking lot, so we moved it up forward to get it out of the way where they wanted it. We had a small leak on Branch Street where the house burned down. Some water, a valve wasn't holding, I guess it's running in the court, Cadella's property, so we got that fixed. We took some, TCEQ came out and took some final third quarter sampling, which I don't see no issues with that. They just come out quarterly and do that. Monday when we visited the wastewater treatment plant, we have a sludge pump making some odd noises. I'm gonna take apart tomorrow. They test on Tuesday. The plant still looks good. We have two of them. So the other one was taking its place while that one's down. So they tested today. We'll take it apart tomorrow and I'll give a report back to City Hall what's going on with that. But that's about it for the month.
Okay, can you then now share about the wastewater line issues on North Railroad? All the 6 call-outs and
I guess it's been going on about 2 weeks. Started getting called out on Friday at the intersection of Live Oak and Railroad there. That manhole just kept getting full, kind of down from your house. We'd get it unstopped 2 or 3 days later. Sometimes the next day later it would be stopped back up. So finally I went to a point where we could camera it and jet it, and I moved downstream toward Washington Street, probably 120, 130 foot.
Towards the school.
Toward Washington.
Towards Washington.
Yeah. right there where that manhole is, right at that intersection's bigger than you think, so it's easier to go the other way. And that's where my problem was with the stoppage, was downstream toward Andy's house. So finally we dug it up, put a camera in it, found tons of debris. Mayor asked me to save some of the stuff that's against the wall, is what came out of the sewer line. There's even a cordless battery in there.
I'm gonna hold it up, Nathan, can you hold?
It's kind of heavy, you know, and
You're welcome to go over and learn.
so we cleaned as far as we could toward Washington Street, back toward a manhole at Live Oak Street, and then we went from Live Oak to Cedar. And we cleaned both ways, from Live Oak to Cedar and then Cedar back to Live Oak. Jetted it, cameraed it. The problem, I can't go any further, is the next manhole is at the intersection of Railroad and Washington Street. It's right on the edge of Textile Road, and we don't know how deep it is under the road. So I think we contacted them about getting it potholed and getting it open. It's been marked with a metal detector to see if we can just chip some asphalt around it, just to see what's in there. But since we closed it back up and got all of that stuff out, we haven't had. I've been checking it daily.
So what do you think, how does gravel get in? To me, that seems like something's broke on the wall.
That or some type of construction, I don't know where it came in from.
Yeah. I mean, if it's, I could see storm sewer might be an issue, but sanitary sewer,
Right.
I don't know how stuff would be getting into it other than.
Right, so the big question is how does that, because it's a sanitary sewer, how does all that get in there? So at this point in time, I'm gonna turn to our A&M student engineers, EcoFlow, and they have been out lifting the lids and mapping our wastewater system. So I'll turn it over to them to share with you what they've been finding.
So we've been opening up all the manholes, doing evaluations across the city, just determining kind of what's been happening on the North Railroad line, or that was kind of our area of focus. The manholes on Washington and Railroad, those are paved over, and then going downhill towards the wastewater treatment plant at Texas Street and Railroad, that one's also paved over. So those will probably need to be contact TxDOT, mark them out as Dustin was saying, and just open them up and kind of so that way we can get in and water jet and put a camera line down to see if any extra damage has occurred. Some of our findings, I can pass out these to council. It's the very last page on the photos. I'll let you pass it down. It's the very last packet. So looking at those, at the very last photo is the one inside of the school. That's where we call it manhole 11B. It's not marked on any current plans that the city has. The installation of the manhole was actually performed incorrectly. If we could show one of the pictures, one of the pipes coming out, the wastewater pipes come out and they aren't routed around. So that's causing a catch zone for toilet paper and other solids that are being flushed. Another issue we're having is inside of the school parking lot where the buses come through to pick up. There's a 32-inch manhole. If you open up that one, that one's full of debris. It's just chock full. It'll be the second image from the end for you guys. Yes, sir. And it's just chock full of debris, lots of toilet paper and other solids just built up through there. And then right outside of the school on the corner of Live Oak and Railroad where it bends, there's a manhole right in the middle of the street. We opened up that one and actually found, Cedar and Railroad. There's two images. The second image is the one after the cleaning, after we brought that up to the mayor and the school. And the first image was what it looked like before. So in the center of that pipe, there's about a 4 foot long, goes across the whole diameter of the bottom of the manhole, just compacted sludge is what we call it. It's just solids. It just is a giant log that's blocking up the flow. So we were thinking that kind of happened is the flow is going down, it's moving down, and then it's getting blocked up and compacted farther down the line. So when it's cleaned and water jet down the line, all that's doing is moving that compacted zone further down the line towards the wastewater treatment plant. To answer some of your questions on how gravel can get into these, that can be from a broken ring cover, which is where it goes up from the width of the actual manhole up to the manhole entry point. Those have been broken all across town. When those are broken, they can shift and just get moved around, and then easily dirt and debris and other stuff. I'm not sure how some of these giant chunks fell in, but the small bits of gravel, that's pretty common, and especially with inflow, which I think is also happening along the line.
Inflow, what's that?
Inflow would be when the system's sealed from the outside, so water draining into the soil can't get into the manhole. Inflow refers to when it is getting into the manhole. So that can happen through the walls of the manhole and the pipe connections where it connects to the pipe. That can also happen from the top down of the manhole. So where the ring and the cover. So we have some recommendations for y'all to kind of install that'll help mitigate that.
Not a big in May.
Yeah. That'll be.
So the reason we're looking on school property at that is page 1, right? It's the map.
Yes, ma'am.
So explain why we're on school property.
So on the map on the school property, the green lines are the 8-inch sewer lines. The light dark blue lines are the 6-inch lines. The rectangle that kind of makes a little lightning bolt going up, that's the added lines that is not currently mapped by the wastewater on the wastewater plans.
So the city has manhole 11 there at the corner of Railroad and Cedar.
Yes, ma'am.
The city infrastructure continues on to 11A.
So from the maps that were given to us from 1980 when it was first mapped and installed, that just shows to be a service clean out. So a clean out is just a small pipe that comes out at about a 45-degree angle or a 90-degree angle that allows you to stick a water jet in and to clean it out. As the school got built and I assume expanded, they needed to move that water line down so that way they can plug in and connect. I'm not sure if the city owns 11A. I think they do, just because of the easement extended from in the 81 plans to 11A. But past 11A in those areas are new manholes that we were actually able to find them under construction. There are equipment parked on them and various stuff all parked through there. But there's a system, it's probably about 4 other manholes additional that go into the school area.
Thank you.
Yep, of course.
Do you have any other questions for what you've seen in the pictures and on your maps?
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Then, I don't know. The other thing we had come up this past week that Dustin brought us in. Rachel and I were in a freshman room meeting with Dustin on Thursday, April 2nd, or next week, on her day off. Next thing we know, we're at the superintendent's office visiting with all the school contractors. Dustin, can you walk us through that conversation as well?
I just had a call from Mercer Construction about wanting to do a tie-in to the city, and I basically told them that's way out of my hands. They were wanting to tie a 12-inch line into the city's 6-inch line, so at that point I told them that I would contact City Hall and let them know and just go from there. And then the contractor called me on several more occasions and wanted us to come up there and look at a set of prints, and so they could see what they were tying in, and that's when we had the meeting at the school.
Right, but there were no prints at the meeting.
Yeah.
So we were just asked at the table if we could, we would give permission for a 12-inch line to connect to the city's 6-inch line. And I was not going to get that permission without an engineering review, because there's no way that math even maps. When you have 2 glasses of water and you want to race, you've got a small straw and a big straw, because this one fits inside. And if those 2 people race drinking water, the person with the biggest straw is always going to win. And I had lots of questions about what that would do to the rest of the city's water supply and water pressure. And I think we deserve to explore those options before giving permission for that hookup to happen. And I ask where the alternative water sources were, because that's, Dr. Kennedy mentioned that they had the ag well, and then they were going to use this retention pond, and she went on about this retention pond and how great it would be, and the fire department come train with it, and all these things. And nobody at the table knew anything about those. After thinking things through, stepping away from that table, thinking things through, we think there was a flow test done 2 to 3 years ago, school initiated, but I don't know what engineer group did that, and as best as we can tell or document, we don't have any results that were given to the city on that. So that's kind of where we are with all of that. Is there any more information that needs to be included in that utility report that perhaps we need to know before you all leave?
Like I said, I just pass on what I.
Right.
Is this what we're discussing? Because there's, I got lots of questions. There's.
Do you have anything else? A&M students, do you have anything else in that utility report? Okay. So that's kind of the end of that utility report, and the council will pick up that discussion in executive session. And so in terms of the consent agenda, I think that is all the reports. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Okay.
Do it as amended with the minutes.
Oh, as amended? Oh, yes. Thank you, Joseph.
We'll add that to it. Perfect.
As amended?
Yes, as amended.
Okay. So first, from Paul, is there a second?
Second that.
Nathan? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. At this time, we are going to adjourn to executive session.
I figured this. I figured this. I remember you from the.
I'm so sorry.
We're happy to do it.
Guess somebody's out there.
We need to say what time.
What time do we start back?
No, you're good. 8:16.
Okay, we're back in regular session. Thank you for waiting outside. So the first item is that we need to entertain a motion to keep paying Angela to pay the bills until the city secretary is hired, and we hope to do that in 2 weeks. But Angela is asking at this point for a $200 minimum for up to 4 hours. With any time after that being $50 an hour. She's very quick in and out, and she does come in and on task. So is there a motion to approve the change in pay for 2 weeks? $200 minimum for up to 4 hours, with any time after that being $50 an hour.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And that's just to update the personnel piece. In terms of what we're dealing with for the wastewater and water issues near the school district. So what we need to look at is a problem that is documented to be 18 years old on that wastewater line. The manhole is 11A, and it is right behind the new elementary school build. And we spent a lot of time as council kind of untangling all of the issues. But the first issue and the issue that has been presenting for 18 years is flooding and issues along North Railroad that started after the construction of the brand new elementary school, and new at the time. And so we're going to have civil engineering services go in and look at that line starting at manhole 11A to figure out what's going on there. And so there's a motion. Could I entertain a motion on hiring? And we've looked at our, let me back it up just a minute to bring everybody in the room on board. So we have 2 on-call engineering services that we already have here for the city of Burton to be able to use. And these are firms that build things. And that's different from what we're needing right now. And so the other firm that has been talked about here in the city of Burton is AOKA. Their RFQs state exactly what they do, and they can do those civil engineering reviews that we need to do. And so we'll be contacting them to use them for engineering services. So may I have a motion to that effect to hire AOKA?
I'll make a motion to hire AOKA for engineering review of existing city wastewater line located on the Burton ISD campus. We'll sign a master service agreement for this project only.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that. Wait a minute, you got a question?
You missed the last little part.
What's that?
Oh, and will require council action.
Oh, and
Oh, sorry.
and will require council approval, anything after that.
I'm going to copy that before you can.
Yep.
So you have a first by Nathan, a second by Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Is there an opposed?
No, I was late on that.
No problem.
As to the water line issue, Mrs. Curry, you are still here. Mrs. Curry, hi. You're still here. Thank you for being here. I would like to, I'm going to email you some items that we're going to be needing from the school district, specifically on the fire.
Actually, instead of emailing me, let's meet face to face.
We can do that. So I'll email or call you tomorrow, and we'll get our calendars together about doing that. And because I have a lot of fire the fire systems, the flow test that was done on the fire suppression system. I don't even know what contractor did that, but there was a fire suppression, a flow test done. And we need, and anyway, I'll give you all the lists, but that's the next thing we want to look at with you. And then we have questions about some of the new connections that are coming on. Location of a meter, we need to talk about where that location is because we don't want distance between our water line and a meter. We want it as close as possible because if there's a line break.
Do you want a meeting with you, city council? You want me to bring everybody in as I offered to do earlier?
Let's start with you and me and see where we need to go from there and discuss this fire suppression. And then I'll also, just a heads up, have y'all figured out another alternative source for water for that line, or are we the source? That's going to be one of my questions as well. That those are kinds of the things that we want to know going in. So we'll resolve the fire suppression. You and I visiting, and then we'll go from there.
Now you have the fire plans, right? That were left here.
I don't have them. We don't have them. So do you have another copy?
Oh, I have,
Okay.
and if not, I can get them very quickly, but I thought you had plans that you dropped off.
We did, we thought we did, and we cannot find them at present
You
time.
brought them back to them.
Yeah, probably saw, because we couldn't do anything with them here. We had nobody to review them, nothing to do with them. And so, we started keeping, so when they drop things off, we just pop them in your file at this point in time. And anyway, yeah. And that was a year ago or better that we did that.
About a year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago, yeah. It took us some time because we were digging and couldn't find them. And we're like, what happened to them?
Well, no, you had them a year and a half ago. We just got them not too long ago now. Probably December.
No, one December.
Y'all had them about a year.
Yeah, okay. We don't have them now.
No,
so.
no, you don't. You brought them back to the office. So yes.
So we'll need it to look at those again and see how that all went. Okay, so that's the update there. Item number 5, and that is discussion about hiring the new city secretary. And that item would need to be tabled and put on the agenda for a special call meeting on Tuesday, April 28th at 5:30 p.m. And so may I have a motion to table this item for a special call meeting?
I'll make a motion to table this item to the meeting at April 28th.
Okay. Is there a second?
Aye.
I'll second.
Did you vote or second?
She came out first.
Macy, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
You're on.
So the special call meeting agenda, item 1 is the budgets. And item 2 is city secretary. Is there anything else that we need to discuss at that meeting? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I got that one.
All second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting's adjourned.
I mean, I know they was the ones that did it.
They ended it.